The weather threatened this tournament, but the determination and grit of our players ensured they not only arrived in Gibraltar, but also competed. And now from our 16 who started, just 4 remain. Shane van Boening, Niels Feijen, Jason Shaw and Karl Boyes are the men left standing, and all are within touching distance of the prize, the World Pool Masters title. Ralph Souquet is the Masters' most successful player, 6 titles to his name and chasing a 7th here in Gibraltar. He looked on course to make the semi-finals, leading England's Karl Boyes 7-2 in a race to 8. But then a remarkable turnaround saw Boyes battle his way through 6 unanswered racks to stage a magnificent comeback. A comeback was also needed in our second quarter-final. Denis Orcolo raced into an early lead, while not the size of Souquet's, it still required a determined effort from Niels Feijen to level the score. He managed it in the 12th rack and then went on to claim the next 2 and a place in the semi-finals. Shane van Boening, the 2015 champion, produced a masterclass against Darren Appleton. Plenty of skill to admire, but the former US Open champion had the edge in this quarter-final, pulling clear of the Englishman when it mattered to record an 8-4 scoreline. With just 1 place remaining in the last 4, it was left to Alex Pagaline and Jason Shaw to battle it out. They were neck and neck through the first 8 racks, but then Shaw took control, holding off a late charge from Pagaline to book his place in the semi-finals. Confirmation of all the scores so far and our semi-final lineup. Shane van Boening will take on Jason Shaw, and coming up, the clash between Niels Feijen and Karl Boyes. The format remains the same for the semi-finals, a race to 8 with the winner breaking. And Karl Boyes enjoyed the perfect start, winning the lag and running out the opening 2 racks. This is now the 3rd, commentary from Alex Lally and Phil Yates.
He's called box office, and in this tournament so far he's been just the ticket. 36 years of age, he's been involved in 4 winning Mosconi Cup teams, and when he won the 2010 WPA World 8-Ball Championship over there in the UAE in Fujairah, who did he beat in the final? Niels Feijen, 13-12.
Yeah, a dry break for Niels in the 25th game, and Boyes dished to win the coveted title.
He's been a record 4-time Mosconi Cup MVP. MVP, of course, most valuable player. To do that in a 5-year period, one of the most extraordinary things in pool history for me.
Rack 3, Karl Boyes to break, leading 2 racks to 0.
It's been a really good tournament for him so far, and looking to consolidate here in rack 3.
This time more control over the cue ball, but nothing in. Ui. 3 ball kept on rolling, and there was a cut shot on the 1 ball. With the 3 ball, the red 3 ball, here it comes, ruined the party. I tried my luck, Phil, at the Chinese 8-ball Jingwaodong in January. I came through the qualifiers, then was up against Karl Boyes, but you know, it's a different game, but he's good at that game as well. Annihilated me. Great player. He picks his tournaments during a season.
Well, he was telling me all about his harrowing journey here, was Karl Boyes. He took off from Manchester. The plane had to circle around in Manchester, or near Manchester, and land back at the airport because the tail caught the runway. The journey was very lengthy as a result, but the journey was well worth it.
Yeah, well worth it. He got a free roll, and thus far he's taking full use of it. A calculated risk by Niels. He didn't fancy playing a push-out. Was hoping for a better result off of the kick shot. Sometimes you can make the right shot selection and don't get rewarded. Was an educated guess. He sacrificed control in order to keep the initiative. Well, there's a window of opportunity for Niels. Even though he has to go over the 3 ball. With all the balls on one half of the table, giving speed to that 1 ball, he's almost even money to resave the ball if he misses the 1 ball to the pocket.
Well, he's bet on black and it's come up red.
That's not going his way. Back to the chair. Reset. Then try to stay in a positive frame of mind.
Extension called.
Boyes very square behind the ball. Great cueist. And they sure go in cleanly. You can float the cue ball to the top rail, 1 rail and back down table, or stun it with the right spin. Go 2 rails, come in towards the 5 ball. It's a nicer shot. Played that very conservative. Leaving it long. Look at this bridge length. Something many pool players can learn from. His hand, the distance between his bridge hand and the cue ball on most shots is less than a diamond. Where in the clubs, most recreational players will have a longer bridge. Keeping it simple. He wants to keep it simple. So that's why he looked at the window between the 8 and 9. And he liked it. Less cue ball movement, more margin for error.
Any pot to the middle pockets, though, should never be taken for granted. This one, yes, of course, it should be potted, but we're always looking for a potential turning point. At the moment, Boyes is giving no encouragement whatsoever to his rival.
Very square stance, like a snooker player. And later, when he'll break, we can take a look at how he changes that setup of his legs. Ooh. That was a poor hit on the 8 ball. Make a ball, but out of nowhere there suddenly is some pressure on this shot.
Well done to Karl Boyes. That was not a simple pot under pressure, as Alex told us, but he knocked it in, and nevertheless he's been knocking in pretty much everything so far. In the first
Boyes to break.
semi-final of the Mansion
Leading 3
Bet
racks to
Whirlpool
nil.
Masters, Karl Boyes is standing firm. And talking about standing, tell us about his stance when he breaks off, Alex.
Yeah, well, first let's look at this stance when breaking off, because now both feet are more aligned with the cue. So here you see that his foot position is parallel to the cue, almost parallel. This gives him a pivot on his front leg. Look at his back leg. So all the weight goes from the middle, from both legs, to the front leg. And the front leg is staying almost on the line of aim. And in that way he can throw his body into the break, generating the power that he does. Look at his back leg coming through. And if you change your foot position for the break like he does,
Push
you're
up
setting
forward.
your body aligned with the direction of the stroke. So later on a normal shot, I'll explain the difference. But it's something that many players do wrong. They'll try to break hard with the normal foot position, but then they misalign the direction of their bodily movement.
Well, with this particular break, the 1 ball went in, but look at the 2 ball. Sandwich
clock,
between the
please.
3 and the
Start the
6.
clock.
That's why Boyes pushed out, and that's why he's back at the table.
Yeah, this is a nice shot to play when you're up 3-0. Tricky little shot. Super soft. But it has come out. Maybe the 2-3 combination is on. But Niels will be forced to play into the side of the 2. And this could cause the 3 ball to... Oh, it will cause the 3 ball to be thrown even more off course. So the 2-3 combination doesn't seem to be on. Niels can play the same shot as Karl did. Thin off the 2, laid on top of the 7-9.
Extension call.
But it seems that he was looking to hide behind the 4 a little thicker. The problem then is that the 2 ball will be getting more speed. Dangerous shot. Dangerous shot. Yeah, more conservative would have been to play the clip off of the 2 to just protect the 2 ball. Now box office, who is red hot in the start of this match,
Extension.
has been
Extension
given an
call.
opportunity to continue his run. Make the 2, run into the 6. He'll be favorite to leave himself a shot on the 3. Hitting downward. Great shot. Quality, confidence. He made the shot even harder, hitting low on the cue ball, but it's, you know, very positive. The mindset being, okay, if I'm taking on a difficult shot, I'm playing it to win with it. Nice, perfect. Poor. He's playing good. Now on a regular shot, let's look at his foot position, his stance. How it differs from a regular stance and how it differs from the stance of most pool players. So this was in between a snooker player stance and a pool player stance. Most pool players will have their right foot, their back foot, more turned out. And actually, I believe, especially since I've done the side right course, that that's a bad habit. All the Brits play with a more square body position, more straight towards the shot. Meanwhile, he's playing good, eh, Phil?
And he looks totally in control. And what I like is the rhythm as well. It's not too quick, but it's not too ponderous either. Just measured, calculated. As you say, confident.
So this was all that he could do from that 6 ball. He needs to play a very fine shot now, because he's going to run into the 9. If he plays with draw, he'll run into the 9 with the risk of scratching in the low left corner. He could try to play stun and play a double kiss off of the 9. He took what he had.
Now this is a pressure ball. We saw actually at the other end of the table, but it was a very similar kind of pot. Jason Shaw have a 9 ball which he overcut
Now
of this ilk.
So how he walked into the shot, how he set himself up. Niels hoping to get to the table in rack 4. And he will. And he will with his shot. Boy is proving to be human after all. Pow.
That really was a let-off, wasn't it? 4-0 is bleak for Feijen. 3-1. In no way a crisis. And it's 3-1, of course, with him breaking off in rack number 5, which is of great significance. Have we seen a transformational moment in the match there? The queuing from Boyes wasn't quite as smooth as it was on previous shots. And let's face it, he missed that by a considerable distance.
Yeah, but that's, you know, he had to play it with a trace of spin. And the cue ball arced away from the 8 ball. That's... A pool table is smaller than a snooker table, so you have to work the cue ball more to avoid the corners and the side pockets.
Niels Feijen just inspecting the rack that's been put together by our referee, Nigel Rees.
Rack 5, Niels Feijen to break.
I like him
Australian
cooking
one rack
the
to
same
3.
recipe as Boyes has done on his breaks. Head on, full force. Throwing the back leg in. Watch his right foot.
Push out cold.
So if we watch Niels' foot, we saw that his feet were not in line with the cue. So at the last instant, he moves his left foot to put it in line. Now this is very technical, very interesting. Possibly later on in the match, we can focus on that again. And Niels has to focus on finding a way to trap Karl Boyes. A little chess game going on. Push out. Putting the 7 together with the 9. More congestion on the table. And this is a difficult safety for Boyes. He doesn't like it.
And start the clock.
The easiest between brackets safety for Niels to play is bank the 1 ball to the left of the 5 and back up again. Oh, that's nice. Containing safety. Making sure to protect that 1 ball. But he has executed it so well that he has found a hiding behind the 8. Super shot. A quarter ball hit. Between the 2 and 4. Too thick. Shot on for Niels now.
Yes, the Feijen safety has yielded the desired result.
So if it were only about making the one, he'd be a favorite. Now look at Niels break really quick.
Extension called.
He needs an extension because he has a line off of the 1 into the 7 and 9. Beautiful. Oh, beautiful. Instead of, instead of bearing down, focusing only on making the 1 and running into the 7 and 9, he has played this with a lot of quality. Hitting lower on the cue ball. Now he needs another great positional shot. Because that 3 ball so close to the knuckle of the side pocket. Now the 3 ball goes, he can hit it full enough, but funny enough, if the knuckle is so close, it's an eye catcher. For some reason, players so often hit the cue ball into the knuckle. Boom, that's a nice shot. Great shot making.
Sweet.
So he has to slow roll the 4 in or play it with side spin, go 2 rails. Slow, I'd be very scared of a kick. But he's not the type to be scared. Preferably, he would stay low on the 7. So he can make the 7 not having to think about the 9. Doesn't want to be straight on the 8. Drop the ball in. Hold it. Well, if you can draw back from here, if he's straight enough, then he'll be fine. And this is a beautiful wreck for Niels, because he had to play push. Was given back by Boyes. He played a good save, and after Boyes' kick, he had a lot of work to do. Clear a lot of traffic, but he has done so, and he has won his second wreck, 3-2.
The vibes of this contest, for me, very similar to what happened with Niels Feijen in his earlier match today. Dennis Akolo looking good early on, but Feijen sticking with him, and that's really, really important. And you know, when we look back at the final analysis of this match, I wonder how important that missed 8 ball will be at the end of rack number 4.
Okay, rack 6. Niels Feijen.
Now let's see if he does the same thing. He probably does. So by not aligning himself to the best of his ability for the break, he needs to move that left foot right before he follows through the cue ball. So his left foot. And having to do that makes it just that bit harder to be consistent. Sometimes difficult to believe that champions like him can become more consistent. But the devil is in the detail.
Well, that break was almost perfect. The 1 was in. Nice opening shot on the 2. The 3 very much available.
Oh, that's nice. Landing the cue ball like that will give confidence and give rhythm. And rhythm being the catalyst for confidence. He's building momentum. Clean. Now snooker players could have a hard time understanding why he takes so much time looking at the next angle on the 5,
Attention
because
called.
he's straight in on the 4, will have an open shot on the 5, but the cloth on the pool table is so quick and lanes, passages are so narrow sometimes that at all costs the players want to avoid awkward angles. Because before you know it, misplacing that cue ball, you have to go 2 rails with side spin to get to the next target. That's nice.
Just avoiding the 9 ball, swinging it round off a couple of cushions. And it looks as though all of the hard work of Boyes to get into that 3-0 lead is going to be counting for nothing. We thought the 8 ball miss in the 4th rack could be a potential turning point, and we still think that.
Yeah, great response by Niels. He's in the driving seat for now. But you can never count your blessings in a winner break format.
The hushed silence in the Tercentenary Hall here at the Victoria Stadium in Gibraltar is interrupted by applause, and that's because Niels Feijen is back on level terms. He was 3-0 down at his lowest ebb. Now, though, it is 3-3. Six racks in the books in this best of 15. Nothing to choose between them. But the advantage with Feijen because he's breaking.
A lot of impact. And a lot of traveling done by the 1 ball to sit up nicely in front of the corner pocket, even though that 5 ball is blocking partially. You should get this. But the difficulty is not making the 1, but controlling the cue ball to stay there for the 3. So either play it real soft or play it with more speed, going towards the left-hand side pocket for a cut on the 3 to the same pocket. Real soft. Good judgment. Now 1 more good shot needed to get in line. Get in line, stay in line, they say. Looking at a stun shot.
Extension called.
To go to the lower rail. Left of the 9. And back up again to center table. Natural route. 2 rails to get to center table. It's all about speed and about staying away from that left-hand long rail. Oh, played that with a lot of confidence. Check the cue ball to perfection the deflection off of the top cushion. Good old-fashioned 9-ball. Winner break format. Players putting packs on in this semi-final. A 3-pack by Boyes. This looking to be a 4-pack by Niels.
And this is the ball that basically turned this match around. The 8-ball missed by Boyes in rack number 4, and ever since, he's been largely a spectator.
Ooh.
Niels Feijen, for the first time, hits the front in the semi-final of the Mansion Bet Whirlpool Masters. He was 3-0 behind, now he leads 4-3. Both players have played nicely, as Alex said, in 2 separate blocks. One of the things that was working for Boyes early on was the break.
Yeah, the crew has made a nice compilation here. On the left we see his stance for the break, and on the right is regular stance for a regular shot. On a regular shot you want to be firm, stable and well balanced. On the break, the power break, you set up your feet not to be stable but to generate movement in a line towards the point of contact on that 1-ball. But with all his quality and his fine start, Boyes is confined to his chair. It was a very difficult 8-ball that he missed. Feijen is taking full advantage.
And I think at this stage, it's worth mentioning that when Niels Feijen won the Whirlpool Masters in Barnsley, England in 2013, en route to capturing the title, he defeated Karl Boyes 8-6.
1-ball maybe? Wow. The 8 and the 3-ball down, and then look at the position of that 1-ball. And if this happens break after break, you start to feel invincible. This is what gives you momentum and wind in the sails to really get going. Good break. Controlled. Angle. Is he going to cheat the pocket and hold the ball? No, back and forth. Any time in this tournament when Niels had to choose between holding the ball or playing double speed, he has played it double speed. He has had over 6 months to think about how he would approach the game after his comeback.
And what a comeback it could be. What a story. Ted was saying right at the start of the event that he thought the enforced break that Feijen had to go through might well clear his mind. It certainly looks that way at the moment. Fresh.
Yeah, but and now the trap comes just as we start to elaborate on that. It's also a trap in Niels' head. Don't start thinking about the finish line, about what could be. Keep your mind on the matter. That 1 shot. He has overrun the mark slightly. So he has to play this
Extension
a little
called.
more delicate than his previous strokes. More spin, less speed. Good shot, look at that. Off of the rail. He will need power here. Now look at his stroke, look at his backswing, because he really needs to force his cue ball. Open up. Great shot.
It's that old sporting cliche at the moment, a match of two distinct halves. Boyes made a great start. Now, though, it's all Niels Feijen, 5-3 in front. Now we're down to the business end of the tournament. It's worth reflecting on the rewards, the financial rewards on offer. By getting to the semi-finals, all of the 4 players involved this evening are guaranteed $5,000. The runner-up will receive $10,000 and the eventual champion will bank $20,000 US. Niels Feijen's done it before. On this evidence, there's no reason to think he won't be doing it again.
Okay, rack 9, Niels Feijen to break, leading 5 racks to 3.
So as a objective fan and lover of the game, I'm sort of looking forward to Boyes coming back to the table to see what will happen. I would like these two fighters to trade punches back and forth. Confidence being the lubricant of the stroking arm. He's hitting that break better and better. And the wow, his wow was because of the position of the 2. Doesn't pass the 4 to the lower left hand pocket. He cannot play it into the 4 to go on the side.
I will say, though, this is the 13th match of the tournament. And in terms of sustained, efficient breaking, I think Feijen is the best so far in this match.
Yes. Yeah, that could be difficult for Boyes to digest. Because based on the recurring patterns, the past matches here in the World Pool Masters, you would assume a dry break to be coming Niels' way, but thus far, he's remaining in control. So Boyes back to the table. Niels didn't like his odds on the 1 to get to the 2. He's not tight behind the 9 ball, which means that Niels will not expect to get ball in hand. But he will expect to be favorite on the outcome of Boyes' kick shot. Boyes will try to hit the right side of the 1 and get the cue ball back to the right side near the 9. Oh.
Ball in hand.
Well, no obstacles now to a clearance. That was the worst possible outcome from Boyes. And I just feel frustration is coursing through his body at the moment.
Yeah, this is something that Niels will build on. Seeing that Boyes is influenced by his long seat treatment. When a player is in sync, when he's playing his A game, he plays most shots with his speed of preference, and with Niels it's more speed. It's medium plus, medium hard. We hear the back of the pocket a lot here in Tercentenary Hall. Go forward 2 rotations. Now center table would be good. Center table or further to the left. His first flawed positional shot in the one-man show that we've seen after Boyes miss on the 8-ball. Is he cutting or does he have to play a straight back? Straight back. Long bank, top right. Long bank, top right. He continues the journey. 6-3 now in the lead, Niels Feijen.
Yes, and that is 6 quality racks on the trot. The Mansion Bet Whirlpool Masters has been a real team effort here in Gibraltar. And now we're down to the nitty-gritty, the semi-finals and final night. This is the first semi-final, and Niels Feijen on course to become the first finalist. 2 more racks required.
Great break off. Yeah, unfortunately for Karl Boyes, the balls are sinking in, and by that I mean that the referee is finding a good position to put the balls, and you know, Niels makes it work. He's making balls, getting shots, even though this is a very difficult shot. He has something to shoot at least. Now the cut on the 1 is available, but he'll travel away from the 2-ball unless he puts some Efren Reyes spin on the ball. Oh, double speed. He went to the 2nd diamond on the long rail. Wanted to come in a little deeper. So this was to this, or even lower. Wants to keep Boyes on the back foot, and he wants to stay at the table.
Extension call.
So risk it, play a bank, or to keep it tight and hide the cue ball now. But the only thing with this angle on the 2, it's difficult to get the cue ball behind the 9 and control the speed of the 2. So he has played, oh wow. He has played object ball first.
That's a peach of a shot.
Oh, you know, if the 2-ball sticks out to the left or to the right, Boyes has something to play for. Now, I believe he can only kick at the 2. That's form.
Yep. Extension called.
Contact has to be made, because with ball in hand, surely where the other balls are, Feijen would step in with a simple clearance. Contact is made. But, a big but.
Yeah, he left a shot on. I think he played it nicely, controlled. Didn't give it a whack like previously on the one ball where he fouled and hit the 5 first. But when your opponent is playing near perfect pool, you need luck. Boyes needs to get lucky. But I don't think he will in this 11th rack, and he knows it.
I'll tell you what, if he keeps playing like this, he could be testing out that tennis elbow injury by lifting the trophy.
Yeah. He came here with no expectancy, not knowing what to expect of his game. He beat Rochendal, then was up against Dennis Orcollo, who had his number. And he thought, well, let's see if I can get one back on him. And he did. And now all of a sudden a stellar performance in the semi-final. Having his eyes sighted on the trophy, it seems, yeah. Well, he's breaking, he's getting shots. And only once did he misplay his position. And he recovered there with a exhibition shot to straight back to top right pocket.
Really, really good stuff from Niels Feijen. Given the flat topography of Holland, you don't often say this, but Feijen is on the hill in a pool sense. 7-3 ahead, 4 in front, a possible 5 to play. Things can turn around. We've seen Boyes pull off an epic comeback already in this tournament. But is Lightning going to strike twice? The way Feijen's breaking, you have to think, probably not.
Never say never.
So this is their route to the semi-finals. Niels Feijen, an 8-2 win over Rochendal from India. Then defeated Dennis Orcollo 8-6. The way Orcollo beat Chris Melling in the first round, a lot of people, myself included, thought he could be a very serious contender. But Feijen stuck with him and got the verdict in the end. As for Karl Boyes, the 8-7 win over Ralph Souke, the talking point of the tournament, really, because he was 7-2 down. But in the first round, he overcame the title holder, David Alcaide from Spain. 8-3, played pretty efficiently there.
Now I'm anxious to see if he upholds his consistency in the breaking department. With the finish line in sight, sometimes players let down on their final break. Actually, this doesn't surprise me. You see this so often. So often.
Well, you've heard it in snooker many times, Alex, on commentary, when people say the hardest frame is always the last one. And maybe it's the same in pool.
Well, it's especially, you know, when you've put a pack on your opponent, when you've been at the table for 10, 15, 20 minutes in a row, cruising, sometimes getting back to your chair feels double strange.
Extension called.
Just as has happened to Karl Boyes. This is what he looked at. If you make it, you're good. If you run into it without making it, you'll be snookered behind the 5. And that's it. That's it. That's that. A big grin on Niels' face. You want me to shoot it?
He thought we might see the concession there, but in the end, Feijen was required. to complete the 2-9 combination. And how about this? That was 8 racks on the trot to reach the winning line in fine, fine style.
A remarkable 8 racks without reply for the Dutchman, and a fine finish with the 2-9 combination, which all adds up to a place in the final where he'll play either Shane Van Boening or Jason Shaw, which is our next match in the Mansion Bet Wool Pool Masters of 2018.